First contact with the impossible. The signal cut through the cosmic static like a knife through silk, clean and impossible. Captain Zixthara felt her chitinous plates ripple with unease as she stared at the readings displayed across the bridge of the research vessel Wandering Current. Her compound eyes, each containing thousands of individual lenses, focused intently on the data streams flowing across the holographic displays. Captain Dr. Neshkol's voice bubbled through the water-filled translation chamber that allowed the amphibious scientist to communicate with the rest of the crew. These readings are unprecedented. The signal is definitely of human origin, but it's broadcasting on frequencies that should be impossible to maintain without massive power sources. Zixthara's mandibles clicked nervously. The Veltarian had spent 3 decades studying the mysteries of deep space, but nothing had prepared her for this. Humans were legends in the galaxy, stories whispered in the dark corners of space stations and research facilities. A species that had appeared suddenly, burned bright across the cosmos, then vanished just as mysteriously 2 centuries ago. "Show me the visual feed," she commanded, her voice carrying the natural authority of someone who had navigated the dangerous politics of interstellar research for longer than most species lived. The main display shimmered and revealed the source of the signal. Hanging in the void like a sleeping giant was a space station of unmistakably human design. Unlike the elegant curves favored by most galactic civilizations, this structure was all brutal angles and functional surfaces. Massive solar arrays spread like metallic wings, while communication towers bristled from its hull like the spines of some deep space predator. "By the ancient currents," Neshkol whispered, his gill slits fluttering with excitement. "It's the Prometheus Dawn. I've read about this station in the restricted archives. It was humanity's last major construction project before they disappeared." Engineer Tokmar, whose crystalline form refracted light in patterns that indicated deep concern, pulsed with yellow warning colors. "Captain, our sensors indicate the station has no active power sources, no fusion reactors, no antimatter containment, no solar energy collection, yet it maintains full life support, artificial gravity, and is broadcasting on 17 different frequencies." Zixthara felt a chill run through her exoskeleton. In her years of exploration, she had encountered many mysteries, but this defied everything she understood about physics and engineering. Could it be some kind of trap? A human defensive system? "Unknown," Tokmar replied, his crystalline structure shifting to deep purple uncertainty. "But Captain, there's something else. The station isn't just broadcasting random signals. It's transmitting what appears to be a greeting in over 300 galactic languages, including some that have been extinct for millennia." The implications hit Zixthara like a meteor strike. Humans had been gone for 200 years, yet their station somehow knew languages that had evolved or been discovered long after their disappearance. Either this was technology so advanced it bordered on magic, or something far stranger was happening. "Dr. Neshkol, what did the xenological protocols say about approaching human artifacts?" The amphibian scientist's bioluminescent patches flickered with embarrassment. "The official recommendation is to maintain a safe distance and report the find to the Galactic Council. Human technology is classified as potentially dangerous due to its unpredictable nature." "But," Neshkol continued, his excitement overriding, "protocol, this could be the greatest discovery in galactic history. The chance to understand human technology, their culture, their reasons for vanishing. The knowledge contained in that station could advance our understanding of the universe by centuries." Zixthara weighed the decision carefully. The smart choice would be to follow protocol, maintain distance, and call for backup. But the scientific opportunity was unprecedented. Moreover, her crew consisted of some of the galaxy's most skilled researchers, and their ship was equipped with the latest defensive systems. We'll approach slowly, she decided. All defensive systems on standby. If that station so much as sneezes in our direction, we're pulling back to a safe distance. As the wandering current began its careful approach to the human station, the crew monitored dozens of different sensor readings. The closer they got, the more impossible the situation became. The station's hull showed signs of age, cosmic radiation scoring, and the inevitable wear of decades in space. Yet its systems hummed with life, and the artificial gravity field it projected was more stable than anything their own technology could produce. Captain Tokmar announced, his crystalline form now pulsing with rapid patterns of confusion. The station is responding to our approach. It's adjusting its broadcast frequency to match our communication protocols. Before Zixtara could respond, the bridge speakers crackled to life. The voice that emerged was unmistakably human, warm and rich, with an accent that linguistic databases identified as originating from Earth's North American continent. Greetings, travelers. This is Prometheus Dawn Station. We have been waiting for visitors for quite some time. Please, don't be afraid. We mean no harm. The bridge fell silent except for the gentle hum of life support systems. Zixthera's training kicked in, pushing aside her shock to focus on the immediate situation. This is Captain Zixera of the research vessel Wandering Current. Who am I speaking with? My name is Dr. Elena Vasquez, though it's been a very long time since anyone called me that. I was the chief science officer of this station before things changed. We've been hoping someone would find us eventually. Dr. Neshkul Est. Gills fluttered rapidly with excitement. Dr. Vasquez, our records indicate that Prometheus Dawn has been missing for over 2 centuries. How is this possible? A sound that might have been laughter echoed through the speakers. That's a complicated question, Dr. Neshkul. Yes, I know who you are. We've been monitoring your research on consciousness transfer technology. Very impressive work, by the way. As for how this is possible, well, that's something better shown than explained. Would you be willing to come aboard? Zixthara's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme nervousness. With respect, Dr. Vasquez, our protocols require verification of safety before any boarding operations. Of course, we'll transmit our complete station schematics, life support readings, and safety protocols. You'll find everything is operating within normal parameters, better than normal, actually. We've had a lot of time to improve our systems. The data package that arrived moments later was staggering in its completeness. Not only did it contain detailed technical specifications for every system on the station, but it also included historical records, personal logs, and scientific research that would take years to fully analyze. Captain Tokmar whispered, his crystalline form now glowing with pure amazement. This data contains solutions to problems we've been working on for decades. The power distribution system alone represents a leap forward in efficiency that shouldn't be possible with known technology. Zixthora made her decision. Dr. Vasquez will accept your invitation, but will be taking precautions. I wouldn't expect anything less. Dock at Bay 7. We'll have the airlocks ready for you. As the Wandering Current approached the massive station, Zixthera couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to discover something that would change everything they thought they knew about the universe. The human station hung before them, Like a metallic mountain, its hull scarred by centuries of exposure to cosmic radiation and micrometeorite impacts, yet somehow still functioning at peak efficiency. Asterisk. The docking process was surprisingly smooth. The station's automated systems guided them in with a precision that spoke of technology far more advanced than their own. As the airlock sealed and atmosphere equalized, Zixera felt her exoskeleton tingle with anticipation and fear. Remember, she addressed her crew. We're dealing with unknown technology and a species that vanished under mysterious circumstances. Stay alert, stay together, and be ready for anything. The airlock doors opened with a soft hiss, revealing a corridor that looked like it had been built yesterday, despite being over 2 centuries old. The walls were lined with what appeared to be some kind of adaptive material that pulsed gently with bioluminescent patterns, providing a warm, welcoming light. Dr. Vasquez was waiting for them, and the sight of her made Zixera's compound eyes refocus in shock. She looked exactly as a human should, bipedal and mammalian, but there was something subtly different about her. Her skin had a faint luminescence, and her eyes held a depth that seemed to contain centuries of experience. "Welcome to Prometheus." "Dawn," she said, her voice carrying warmth that seemed to resonate through the walls themselves. "I know you have many questions, and I promise to answer them all. But first, let me show you what we've become." As they walked through the corridor, Zixera noticed that the walls seemed to respond to their presence, lighting up ahead of them and dimming behind. It was as if the station itself was alive, aware of their movement and adjusting accordingly. "Dr. Vasquez," Neshkal asked, his scientific curiosity overriding his nervousness, "how are you maintaining station operations without any detectable power source?" "That's the beautiful part," Alina replied, stopping beside a viewing window that looked out into space. "We don't need traditional power sources anymore. We are the power source. When humanity realized we were facing extinction, we made a choice. Rather than simply die, we found a way to preserve ourselves as conscious energy integrated with our technology. The implications hit them like a wave. Tokmar's crystalline form shifted through a rapid spectrum of colors, indicating extreme shock. "You're saying that humans uploaded their consciousness into the station's systems?" "Not uploaded," Alina corrected gently. "Transformed. We didn't copy ourselves into computers. We became something new, something that exists in the space between matter and energy, between flesh and technology. We are the station, and the station is us." As if to demonstrate, the walls around them pulsed with gentle light, and other voices began to speak from speakers throughout the corridor. Engineers, scientists, artists, even children, all preserved in this impossible fusion of consciousness and technology. "We are Dr. James Chen, former chief engineer; Captain Sarah Martinez, station commander; Dr. Raj Patel, xenobiologist; Maria Santos, age 12, daughter of communications officer Luis Santos." The voices continued, dozens of them, then hundreds, creating a symphony of human consciousness that filled the corridor with life and purpose. "We've been waiting," Alina continued, "for someone to find us. Someone who could understand what we've become and help us share what we've learned. The universe is vast and full of wonders, but it's also full of dangers. We've spent 2 centuries watching, learning, preparing for the day when we could pass on humanity's final gift to the galaxy." Zixera felt her worldview reshaping itself. Around this impossible reality, what kind of gift? Elena's smile was radiant. The gift of unity. The knowledge of how different species can work together. how consciousness can transcend physical limitations, how love and hope can survive even the death of worlds. But first, we need to know if you're ready to receive it. As they stood in the corridor of the impossible station, surrounded by the voices of humanity's preserved souls, Zixthera realized that their simple research mission had become something far more significant. They had found not just a human artifact, but humanity itself, transformed and waiting to share the greatest discovery in galactic history. The station hummed around them, alive with the consciousness of an entire species, and Zixthera knew that nothing would ever be the same. Humanity's last gift. The deeper they ventured into Prometheus Dawn, the more extraordinary the station revealed itself to be. Alina guided them through corridors that seemed to breathe with life, past laboratories where ghostly figures worked on experiments that defied known physics, and into observation decks where the preserved consciousness of humanity's greatest minds contemplated the mysteries of the universe. "This is impossible," Tokmar whispered, his crystalline form cycling through colors that indicated deep confusion mixed with awe. "The energy requirements alone should be staggering. How do you maintain individual consciousness while sharing a collective system?" Alina paused beside a wall that displayed a complex diagram of interconnected neural networks. "It wasn't easy. The process took us nearly 50 years to perfect. We lost many in the early attempts, brave volunteers who helped us understand the boundaries between individual identity and collective consciousness." Dr. Neshkor's bioluminescent patches flickered with scientific excitement. "Are you saying you developed a method to preserve consciousness as pure information while maintaining individual personality and memory?" "More than that," Alina replied, her hand touching the wall. The surface responded to her touch, displaying images of Earth in its final days. "We learned to enhance consciousness, to share knowledge and experience across the collective while still maintaining our individual selves. When little Maria Santos wants to understand quantum physics, she can access Dr. Chen's expertise. When Dr. Patel needs to understand art, he can share Maria's wonder at a sunset she never saw but now experiences through the memories of others." The images on the wall shifted, showing the final evacuation of Earth as their sun began its premature death. Massive ships fled the dying world, but not all made it to safety. The Prometheus Dawn had been humanity's last hope, a research station designed to find a way to preserve their species even if their physical forms could not survive. "We were running out of time," Alina explained, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "Earth was dying, our colonies were failing, and we faced extinction. The other species in the galaxy saw us as a threat, young and aggressive, expanding too quickly. They formed the Containment Coalition, blocking our access to essential resources and safe systems." Zixthera felt her chitinous plates shift with discomfort. The Containment Coalition was ancient history, a political alliance that had dissolved centuries ago. But the implications of what Alina was saying sent chills through her exoskeleton. "You're saying the galaxy actively worked against human survival?" "Fear," Alina said simply. "We were different, unpredictable. We adapted too quickly, learned too fast, and some of our methods seemed brutal to species that had evolved more slowly. They were afraid that if humanity continued to grow, we would eventually dominate the galaxy." The wall display showed the final days of the human resistance, small fleets fighting desperate battles against overwhelming odds. But even in defeat, there was something magnificent about the human spirit, a refusal to surrender that transcended mere survival. "So you chose transformation over extinction?" Neshkol observed, his gill slits fluttering with emotion. We chose hope, Alina corrected. Hope that someday someone would find us and be willing to listen. Hope that we could share what we had learned, not just about technology, but about the potential for different species to work together. She led them into a vast chamber at the station's heart, where thousands of points of light swirled in complex patterns. Each point represented a preserved human consciousness, and the patterns showed the incredible complexity of their interactions. This is our core, Alina explained. Every human aboard Prometheus Dawn when we made the transition is here. Scientists, engineers, artists, children, families, all of us together. We've spent 2 centuries learning, growing, and preparing for this moment. Tokmar pulsed with deep blue curiosity. Preparing for what? To pass on the synthesis, Alina replied. The knowledge of how to merge organic consciousness with quantum systems. How to preserve not just information, but the essence of what makes a species unique. We've been waiting for someone worthy to receive this gift. Zixthara's mandibles clicked rapidly. How do you determine worthiness? Elena's expression grew serious. The same way we learned to preserve consciousness. Through understanding, empathy, and the willingness to sacrifice for others. We've been monitoring your species for decades. Watching how you interact with other civilizations. How you approach scientific discovery. How you treat those different from yourselves. The chamber around them began to resonate with a harmonic frequency that seemed to touch something deep in their minds. Images flashed through their consciousness, not forced or invasive, but offered gently for their consideration. Asterisk. They saw the Veltarian species' long history of patient exploration, their careful approach to first contact situations, their respect for other life forms. They experienced Neshkal's amphibious people's dedication to preserving knowledge, their vast underwater libraries that contained the wisdom of a dozen extinct civilizations. They felt Tokmar as crystalline races' unique ability to store and process information, their role as living computers that helped other species solve complex problems. You've all shown the qualities we value most, Alina continued. Curiosity, without conquest, knowledge without domination, strength without cruelty. You seek to understand rather than to control. Dr. Neshkol's voice bubbled with emotion. What exactly are you offering us? The chance to transcend your physical limitations without losing your essential selves. The knowledge to preserve your species' consciousness even if your worlds fail. The technology to share thoughts and experiences across vast distances, to learn from each other in ways that were impossible before. The chamber grew brighter, and they could see the individual lights that represented human consciousness, beginning to arrange themselves into new patterns. The air itself seemed to hum with possibility. But more than that, Alina added, we're offering you the chance to become part of something greater. Not absorption or assimilation, but true synthesis. Your species would maintain their individual identities while gaining the ability to share knowledge and experience with others. Zixthara felt the weight of the decision pressing down on her. This was beyond her authority as a simple research captain. This was a choice that would affect entire civilizations. This isn't a decision we can make alone, she said carefully. This affects billions of individuals across dozens of species. We understand, Alina replied. That's why we're starting small. We're offering to share the knowledge with your research team first. If you choose to accept the synthesis, you'll become ambassadors, able to return to your people and share what you've learned. The choice will always remain with each individual and each species. The chamber filled with the sound of human voices, not speaking in words, but in pure emotion and intent. Hope, love, curiosity, and an overwhelming desire to see the galaxies. Children succeed where they had failed. We made mistakes, Alina admitted. We were too aggressive, too quick to resort to force when diplomacy failed. But we learned, we grew, and we found a way to preserve not just our knowledge, but our wisdom. The galaxy doesn't need another dominant species. It needs cooperation, understanding, and the willingness to sacrifice for the greater good. Tokmar's crystalline form began to resonate with the chamber's frequency. What happens to you if we accept? Do you fade away, your purpose fulfilled? Elena's laugh was warm and genuine. Oh, we're not going anywhere. We've got front row seats to the greatest show in the universe. We get to watch as different species learn to work together, as consciousness evolves beyond the limitations of single bodies, as the galaxy becomes something greater than the sum of its parts. The lights in the chamber began to pulse in rhythm, with their heartbeats creating a connection that transcended species barriers. For a moment, Zixthara could feel what it was like to be human, to carry within herself the memories of Earth's blue skies and humanity's endless curiosity. Neshkol experienced the crystalline clarity of Tokmar's thought processes, while Tokmar felt the fluid adaptability of amphibious consciousness. This is what we offer, Alina said softly. Not the loss of self, but the expansion of self. The ability to understand others, not through translation or interpretation, but through direct experience. The decision hung in the air like a suspended moment in time. Zixthara looked at her crew, seeing the wonder and possibility in their eyes. This was beyond anything they had imagined when they detected the station's impossible signals. If we accept, she asked, what happens next? You return to your people as ambassadors of synthesis. You share what you've learned, offer the gift to those who choose to receive it, and help guide the galaxy toward a future where the word alien loses its meaning, where different species become different aspects of a greater consciousness. Dr. Neshkol's bioluminescent patches pulsed with excitement. A galaxy united not by conquest but by understanding. Exactly, Alina beamed. And it all starts with 3 brave researchers who were willing to investigate an impossible signal and trust a species that had been gone for 2 centuries. As they stood in the heart of humanity's preserved consciousness, surrounded by the hopes and dreams of an entire species, Zixthara realized that their choice would echo through history. They had come seeking scientific knowledge and found something far more precious, the key to transforming the galaxy itself. The station hummed. Around them, alive with anticipation, as humanity's last gift waited to be accepted by the children of the stars. Asterisk.